Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jewel, also known as Mr. Pristine. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Pristine Tech. Today, I'm going to unbox the iPhone 7, and immediately following the unboxing and going through a rundown of specs that this phone possesses, I will give my impressions. So, without further ado, let's do this. Go ahead and crack the box open. Well, actually, real quick, let's look at the presentation real quick. Um, Typical Apple presentation. The reason why the back of the phone is on the top of the box is to show off the back of the phone. There's really no other explanation for that. I believe that whatever color variant that you decide to get, that's what's going to be the color that's going to be on the top of the box. And then you see you've got the black Apple emblem right there, and then you flip it to the side and you've got iPhone written in black. So again, I believe if I were to get the rose gold version, then the rose gold would be the color that's displayed here, and it would say iPhone, and the Apple emblem would be in the rose gold color. So yeah, let's go ahead and crack it open. All right, what we got here? We've got just typical books and information and things designed by Apple in California. All right, and here is the phone. This is absolutely beautiful. Beautifully made phone, which isn't a surprise. I mean, Apple, they've always been known for making high quality devices as far as the materials that they use to build their phones. I mean, so that's not really a surprise. Very, very premium build here. I'm not sure if the glass that's on the front of the cover here is Gorilla Glass. It's not specified anywhere. Flip it over to the back. We've got this beautifully made black matte finish. This is just, yeah, this is simply beautiful. The way the it's like a, I don't want to say a two-tone black, but I mean, I like the fact that you've got the glossy lookingness, or the glossy look on the front, and then on the back you've just kind of got this smooth, matte finish. You can see there's very faint smudges on it, but it's definitely not a fingerprint magnet like the front of the phone. So, this phone, I mean, either you're going to have to keep a microfiber cloth with you to keep it looking clean all the time, because you're definitely going to get some fingerprint smudges on it. I would recommend getting some type of screen protector or a tempered glass protector, so that if you drop your phone, then that tempered glass is going to be what shatters rather than your actual screen. Again, these phones are not cheap. I mean, this particular phone right here is, I believe, $650 plus the taxes. This is the 32 gig AT&T version. Nothing against AT&T, but I'm glad it doesn't have like that little AT&T emblem right here. I hate when they brand their phones like that. But anyway, so yeah, just to take you on a quick tour of the phone. We've got the earphone speaker. We've got a 7 megapixel front-facing camera, which is up from last year's model. On last year's model, you had only a 5 megapixel camera, so now it is a 7 megapixel camera. Down to the bottom, we've got the home button, but there's been some changes to the home button. It's no longer a button. It is more of a touch capacitive fingerprint sensor. If you try to push it, it doesn't move. It does nothing. Now, the interesting thing is, I played with the 7 Plus in the AT&T store, and that button is a touch capacitive button. Like, you can touch it, push it, and there's activity that happens. Like, it actually presses down, but it's like the whole bottom of the phone presses down or clicks. So it's just not like if you push the circle, then you're pushing that actual button. It's like the whole bottom of the phone clicks. I'm not exactly sure what that particular feature is for. But I know that on the 7 here, it's not a button. I mean, so as far as like unlocking your phone, you would just gently rest your finger on it to unlock your device. And I'm not sure if there's other ways that you could set it to maybe open up different apps or something like that. I'll have to test that out, once I get into the phone and start getting real intimate with it. But on the bottom of the phone, we've got our lightning port. We've got a speaker grill on the left side and a speaker grill on the right side. So now rather than just having one speaker that is bottom firing, we've got two. And it is said that this iPhone 7 has stereo speakers. And so I'm going to be anxious to see how these speakers sound as well. I'll definitely be testing those out. I've always thought that the single firing speaker on previous iPhones sounded pretty good, considering that it was a single firing speaker, but now we've got two. So I can't imagine why it wouldn't sound, good, but that's something that we'll definitely test out, and I'll have that information in the full review. Now, to the right of the phone, we've got the SIM ejection tray, which is a nano SIM. There is no storage expandability. Again, that's why they have the different phones for sale in different gigabyte variants. So we've got the home button right there and the sleep button, and the buttons are a little bit more flush. They don't protrude as much that I've noticed, except for the camera on the back. And I'll talk about that in a second. Now, at the top of the phone, there's nothing. And to the left of the phone, we've got the volume markers up and down. And then we've got the typical notification bar right here where you can either turn sounds and notifications on or off. As far as how basically, no, it's, whether or not you want to put the phone in silent or have sound, you've got that little lever there for easy switching back and forth to sound or to mute the sound. And to the back of the phone, typical iPhone branding, Apple logo, and we've got the 12 megapixel rear camera with dual tone LED flash. All right, so that's just a quick tour of the phone. Now we get the charging cable or the charging brick, USB. We get a pair of the headphones, which Apple always includes within their phones. But these are a little different. The ones that we're used to before have been headphones that we would plug into a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Well, these you are going to need to plug into the lightning port because there is no 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Now, a lot of people seem to be up in arms about this. Me personally, and this is just me and my opinion and how I use things. I don't think this is an issue because I do everything through Bluetooth. I don't associate with wires. I believe that wired connections are a thing of the past, and that's just my personal opinion. I mean, so a lot of stuff that I use as far as like my music streaming or anything like that, I mean, everything is connected to Bluetooth. My Bluetooth devices, speakers, for music. When I'm in my car, my phone is connected to my car via Bluetooth, which is how I stream music on Spotify. So I'm completely wireless with everything. So I'm totally fine with the fact that this doesn't have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. Now, I also understand the other argument. I understand that a lot of people feel as though you get optimum sound when you plug in high quality devices, and if you don't have a 3.5 millimeter jack, then you're not going to be able to get the sound quality that particular headset that you're wearing is capable of producing. Now, what Apple did do was they put inside of the box this little adapter, which is a 3.5 millimeter to lightning adapter. So if you want to listen to say some headphones that you have wired to, you just simply plug the adapter into the lightning port, and then you plug your 3.5 millimeter connector into this right here. Now, this is a separate accessory that you're going to have to carry around with you. So, I mean, I'm not sure how convenient you may find that. This thing is very frail and flimsy, very easy to lose. So it's definitely something that you want to keep track of, if you're planning on plugging up to this phone with a wired connection. Okay. But shout out to Apple for putting that in there. Just trying to be mindful of the fact that there's going to be people out there that still use wired headphones or whatever they use that consist of using a wire. So it's good that they threw that in there. And then, of course, we've got the USB charging cable. And that's it as far as what comes in the box. So let's go ahead and file all that to the side and get to the phone. Now, just want to go over a few specs really quickly before the completion of this video. And again, God, the phone, it feels really good in the hand. I'm not going to go over the dimensions because they are the exact same as the iPhone 6 and 6S. So there are no changes there as far as the size is concerned. The length, the width, everything, all the dimensions are completely the same. The phone is curved on the front and back. I like the way it feels in my hand. I've got very small hands, and you see I can grip it very easily with no problems. It is a little on the small side. It's 4.7 inches. I've got the Plus on pre-order. Another thing that I don't really care too much about, just really quickly as a side note, is before we get into some of the specs of the phone, I watched the keynote on the 9th, I believe, and I sat there and listened to Tim Cook tell everybody that the phone was going to be available in its entirety on the 16th. And then no one got the pluses in yesterday. No store had the iPhone 7 Plus yesterday, which is what they said, or which is when they said it was going to be available. So it turns out that the 7 Pluses are only on pre-order, and if you pre-order them right now, you're not going to get it until like November or something like that. And so the only thing that you can walk into a store and get right now, if they've got them in stock, is the iPhone 7, which is this one right here. And you can get this in 32, 128, or 256 gig. They completely did away with the 16 gig and the 64 gig. Some people have some mixed feelings about that, and I understand why, but that's what it is for this particular year. So just to go over some quick specs, me personally, I'm like, Apple, if you don't have enough phones to meet the demand of people that may want the regular iPhone or the Plus model, then just don't put the phone out until you've got enough produced to where you can, feed the masses. I mean, you've got a huge fan base. There's a lot of Apple fanboys and girls that are going to support this product. Even though I feel as though they're really behind the curve on things. But, nonetheless, I mean, this is going to be a heavily supported item. And so it's just like, a lot of people are in an uproar right now because of the fact that the Plus isn't available, and the Plus is really what people want. So, I kind of look at Apple with the crooked eye over that. And I know that it's a publicity stunt, it's to, get the interest up, get people wanting the phone more and more, getting more excited about it, more hyped about it, which leads to more pre-orders and, more excitement. I mean, I get it, but, for the people that want to walk into a store and buy it and walk out of the store with it, what about them, Apple? I mean, there's going to be people out there that don't want the 4.7 inch, the people that want the 5.5 inch, how come they can't go in on launch day and walk out with a 5.5 inch Plus model, but that's just my personal feelings toward the whole situation. I've never once taken part in an Apple launch day event. I mean, so this is actually the first time, and it's nuts. But from what I understand, Apple does this every year, so I guess this isn't a surprise. This is just what they do. So anyway, I'm just gonna read off some specs. I got my little cheat sheet over here. I can't remember everything, but again, like I said, this is the 13 gigabyte variant. This phone, it weighs 4.87 ounces, which converts to 138 grams. Very lightweight. Again, this is the 4.7 Retina HD display. It's a 4.7 inch diagonal LED backlit widescreen. It's a 1334 by 720 pixel resolution at 326 ppi for all you tech freaks out there. Let's see. Both models, they support wide color display, dual domain pixels for wide viewing angles, fingerprint resistant, heliophobic coating, and support for display of multiple languages and characters simultaneously, display zoom, reachability. This phone is splash and water and dust resistant, which a lot of people are happy about. Now, I was talking to a guy in the AT&T store earlier today, and he made a really good point. I told him how I felt like, phones being water resistant for me is not a selling point because I just don't get my phones wet at all whatsoever. But I also live in Seattle, Washington. And so his point was, dude, you live in Seattle. It rains all the time. You need to have a device that's water resistant, or that is at least splash resistant. So if there's any kind of water that comes into contact with your phone, it's not going to be damaged. This is rated IP67. It can be submerged underwater for a short amount of time. I'm not exactly sure how long before the phone sustains any water damage. But it can be splashed on. It can be submerged. If you're out in the rain and you're, checking, to see how close your Uber is to you, and it's pouring down raining and drops are getting all on your phone, you're covered. You've got nothing to worry about. If you're walking down the street, I know downtown Seattle, it really reminds me of New York. There's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of people walking around during work hours. And if it's pouring down raining, car drives by, splashes you because it ran through a puddle, and it splashes all over your phone, you're covered. If you trip and fall in a puddle and drop your phone in a puddle, you're covered. I mean, you've got nothing to worry about. So, I guess in that particular regard, it's a good thing for it to be, splash and water resistant. But still, I'm not bringing my phone around no water. So, y'all do what y'all do. Now, next, the processor. This is Apple's latest processor, and according to them, this is their latest and greatest. This is the A10 Fusion chip with 64-bit architecture, embedded M10 Motion coprocessor. It's got 2 gigs of RAM, which a lot of people are kind of, I don't want to say up in arms about, but they're kind of like scratching their head like, yo, Apple, we couldn't get 3 or 4 gigs. Apparently the 7 Plus has 3 gigs. So if you want that extra gig, then definitely go with the 7 Plus if you can get your hands on one. And the processor is it's a quad core. It's a quad core processor. iPhones, to me, in my experiences with them, they've always ran pretty smooth. I'll definitely be, testing it out just to see how it performs. As I get it all powered up and everything, I haven't even put my SIM card in or any of my information. So let's see, I'll just go ahead and pop it on, turn it on real quick. And just to see if there's anything different about the startup screen or anything like that. Now, the camera, like I said, it's a 12 megapixel camera. It's a f1.8 aperture, digital zoom up to 5 times, optical image stabilization for still shots and video recording, quad LED True Tone flash, lot of features, front and back of the camera. Let's see. Like I mentioned earlier, the front-facing camera is a 7 megapixel camera. Yeah, see, so it's just on the screen where you just go ahead and plug in English, United States, same orientation as far as the startup, and so I'd have to get my information plugged in and get to the actual menu. But yeah, I mean, let's see. Video recording, 4K video recording up to 30 frames per second, 1080p HD video recording at 30 frames or 60 frames per second, 720p HD video recording at 30 frames per second. So yeah, there's a lot of options with this camera. both still shots and video recording. So I'll definitely be playing around with that, just trying to familiarize myself with that. Now again, the front-facing camera, 7 megapixels, 1080p HD video recording, Retina flash. It's an f2.2 aperture, wide color capture for photos and live photos, auto HDR, backside illumination sensor, body and face detection, auto image stabilization, burst mode, exposure control, timer mode. So you've got a decent amount of features as well with the front-facing camera, which I'll also be testing. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is my unboxing of the iPhone 7. I'm going to test this device and use it as my daily driver for the next week or so. I'm really trying to familiarize myself and get completely intimate with this device, learn it so that I can put together the most detailed review possible for anybody that may be considering spending money on this particular device. If you like this video, please hit that thumbs up. If you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel out in a major way. I greatly would appreciate it. I've done some reviews on a lot of great devices, and I've got a lot more to come. So you guys, please stay tuned. Again, thank you to all my subscribers and people that hit me up. If you've got any questions or comments, hit me up in the comments below. I'm constantly checking my comments, and I try to respond to them as quickly as I possibly can. I mean, so if you hit me with a question or a comment and I don't reply immediately, it's probably because I'm busy doing something. I'm not ignoring you, so don't get in your feelings and take it personal. But no, I appreciate all the love and the feedback, even the negative things that people have to say. I appreciate your opinions as well. Everybody's entitled to their opinion, and yeah, I just look forward to continuing to make these videos and hope that I can, touch somebody and help somebody make a wise choice on what they want to spend their money on, which is the true intended purpose as to why I do this. So again, you guys all take care. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. But in the meantime, stay blessed, stay safe, and definitely, and I mean definitely, stay pristine and clean. All right, y'all. Peace.